Well, friends of Mundo Maldini, this is where the Mexican national team trains, a truly fantastic place. This is where the team gathers. And here we have an appointment with Javier Aguirre, the Mexican coach who just won the CONCACAF and will be the coach of the Mexican national team in the 2026 World Cup. It will be the third World Cup he manages with Mexico. Javier Aguirre. We're going to talk about all that, and of course, he will analyze the Mexican national team better than anyone. We'll discuss how the team is doing, player by player, and many more things with him. Well, Javier, thank you very much for everything. First, congratulations on winning the league with Mexico. We've known each other for so many years. Many years. When you were the coach of Egypt, do you remember you asked me for some matches of Egypt's rival teams?
Of course. And before, with Mexico, I asked you for matches too, don't you remember? With Mexico, I asked you for matches because of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. Yes, because we couldn't get them here and you considered it a very rare match.
Well, I would like us to talk a little about the current Mexican national team. Dennis, there is great excitement here about the team. You just won the Nations League.
Yes, there is. Do you know what happens? Our arch rival is the United States. And it turns out they had 3 nations in 103. So there was indeed a kind of frustration or a desire to beat the Americans, a sense of revenge, that connotation that millions of Mexicans live in the United States. And there's another issue, something that goes beyond sports. So there was some noise around the Mexican national team with the nations.
Well, this video is going to be watched a lot in Mexico, but also a lot in Spain. Logically, in Spain, well, the deep knowledge of Mexican footballers is not the same. So I would like to take advantage of the fact that we are with the coach so that in Spain, because in Mexico they know them, they can get to know a little better what is perhaps the starting 11. Yes, the starting 11. By a player, I tell you. Of course. For example, Malagon.
Malagon, I think, is an explosive player, very explosive. He is brave, has good technique. Perhaps his height might be a bit of a disadvantage. In Spain, specifically in Europe, goalkeepers are generally be taller than Luis Angel. I insist, he is brave, has good timing in aerial play. But could he compete? Yes, he could compete. Would it be difficult for you too?
Yes, there's a lot of pressure because here there have been at least 2 legendary goalkeepers, Jorge Campos, Memo Ochoa, and Memo Ochoa, being the goalkeeper for the Mexican national team, carries tremendous weight.
It does. I had Jorge as a player, I had Memo as a player, and of course their own personality, their way. And now Jorge with his outfits and his footwork and his craziness of being a forward, and Memo with his poise, his presence, with his 5 World Cups under his belt, you tell me. So yes, Luis Angel has a very long shadow, but the boy, honestly, has pleasantly surprised me.
Well, you have to tell me why you put a left footer on the right, like Alvarado. I really liked Piojo Alvarado the other day, by the way. Yes, but it's not common to see left footers playing as wingbacks or fullbacks.
I saw him as a wingback at Cruz Azul with Juan Reynoso. Speaking of Juan, I send him a greeting, good friend, champion with heart after so many years. That's where I saw him for the first time, as a wingback. I think he defends, Bakir, because he's in the zone, not because he has those defensive skills or the concepts of delaying the play, lowering the lower body for positioning or aerial play. It's not his strong suit. But going forward, he's a beast. Now, Roberto, this thing about playing left footers on the right, do you remember? And the first time I saw it was with Johan Cruyff and the Dream Team with Stoichkov. Yes, of course, that was the first time I saw a left footer and I loved it. Then do you remember Jose Antonio Reyes, may he rest in peace? I had him at Atletico. I used to put him on the left there. The truth is, in Messi's incursions from the outside to the inside, it's now Yamal who's doing it brilliantly. So it's like it's already established, Julio, that we switch profiles because you're also going inside. And I'll tell you more. Left-footed players, when they feint to shoot to the far post, they cut back and are capable of delivering right-footed crosses much better than right-footed players with their left. I love the right-footed crosses.
Yes, it's very common to see wingers on the opposite foot. But the other day I saw Alvarado playing with 3 central defenders. As a wingback, he pushed forward a lot, but I see him more at the back.
It was a match that had to be won. So yes, you take a bit of a risk. We played more nominally. It's true that Israel Reyes, as you say, is a central defender. We put him as a right back with Gallardo as the left back. But when playing out from the back, the formation does break down. And as you say, it creates lanes. Lanes are created with Piojo and Gallardo, but in defense, we are 4. 4 in February, 4 at the back, 4 with Alvarado in front of Reyes and the 2 Jimenez.
Well, you started with 3 central defenders. I liked Montes. Montes is doing well again.
He had a suspension match and Edson Álvarez played. As a central defender who is at West Ham and is a pivot. But he started as a central defender at America and so on. And at Ajax, he played as a central defender. He told me more than once. So I put him there, and I liked it a lot. Playing Lira in front. When Montes returned, I moved Alvarez forward and placed Montes well.
And then Vasquez did well, the guy who is in Genoa.
This guy is very curious. He goes with Genoa. They get relegated. And I can't remember which team signs him. And he stays in the first division. This team gets relegated, but Genoa has 2 relegations, yet he remains in the first division. I have always been surprised by his concentration as well. He jumps very well. In Italy, they have taught him how to defend. In Italy, they defend all over the field, and he jumps very well. Against the forwards who push, he jumps well and is very aggressive. I have liked his evolution. In Italy, they have taught him a lot of defensive concepts in 3 years. And with the ball, he is capable of getting you. He changes.
Exactly.
Fundamental.
And Reyes played more centrally on the right.
Reyes as a central defender on the right. I spoke with Jardine in America, central or lateral purpose America. He also plays with a line of 3, sometimes with Ramon Juarez on the left, whom I also have in the national team. Reyes is a very curious guy because he can play as a pivot. In Puebla, he plays as a pivot with Larcamon as a lateral. Even America signs him and places him as a central defender. Due to his height and natural abilities, he can play in all 3 positions. He is not the ideal right back. He won't advance, he doesn't cross the midfield, but he has good ball control, good interior passing, and good aerial play. He is very focused. Well, I think that, look, Julio, what I've discovered is that the more positions players can play, the better for the coach, much better for the manager. He has many more possibilities to alternate. If he's just a typical right back who can't play as a central defender or as a wing back, he limits himself, and I am limited too.
Well, and as for the left back, I love Gallardo, the mindset he has to constantly advance. It's true that you attack a lot from there too.
A lot. Gallardo initially started as a left winger at Pumas. He was recruited as a left winger. Pumas brought him back. Monterrey signed him. I had him at Monterrey. And he's a European level player. He's been to 2 World Cups, I believe. He has the natural ability to play in Europe. In Spain, I could place him in 10 teams tomorrow, easily. He's doing well. He has a good physique. The only thing I've told him is that he's very cheerful, very playful, very lively. And sometimes on the field, you need to be more of a bastard, get angrier. Because when you're angry, you're a better player. When you're joking around with the car, with the opposing bench, you play well, but you're missing that edge. Bad temper,
bad attitude.
And this one, when I saw him with Honduras, did you see the match in Toluca? He barked, he pushed. That's the fighter I want, within the rules.
But you once told a story about a Japan-Brazil match that Neymar drove you all crazy. 4 months, you told me. But every now and then, come on, stop him a little. A kick, in every sense of the word. It's no big deal.
At halftime, I told them, all that's missing is for you to ask him for an autograph, damn it. Yes, because he beat us 4-0. It seemed like 4 Neymars in Singapore. What a good memory. And I told him everything. And it happened to me with my Japanese team against Venezuela. The Venezuelans had blood in their eyes. It was a friendly match, and they were killing us with kicks. And my team was doing nothing. They were beating us 1-0, so I told the translator not to speak. And I spoke in English, in Spanish, in Basque, and in Japanese. Everything. I told them everything. Body language, as they say, I told them everything. They went out for a while. We turned the score around, but in the end, they tied us. A mistake by my goalkeeper. 2-2. Then I go in and they say, Honda, I'm going to make you Honda. He gives me a card. It's a spa. Go relax. I'm going to make you famous, Kuko. Incredible. It's just that the Japanese are they come to the World Cup, by the way. They are already qualified for 8 in a row. They have 8-4. They lack a bit of, I don't know how to say it. Competitiveness is a word, a very good euphemism. They are missing something. Of course, the Europeans, the more they have in Europe, the better they come. And the same thing happens to me. The Europeans, I have come and I see them at the table. Raúl Jiménez asks, hey, how's it going? The Premier League? That's very good because we need the great football that's in Europe. Let's not fool ourselves. So the more Mexican players we have abroad, the more we will achieve.
Then we talk about Raúl Jiménez, who is at a spectacular level. But speaking of players in Europe, Edson Álvarez, the West Ham journey seems to me like a key player.
Yes, key. They brought in Guido Rodriguez and they brought in this guy who was at PSG, Carles Soler. And that increased the competition for him. And Julian Lopetegui, who was his supporter, left. And now it's not that he plays less, but he has a higher level of competition. Great player, great captain. He knows how to be present, organizes a lot. I think he's quite tidy with the ball. He doesn't complicate things. A virtue a player must have is knowing their limits. If you intend to take on players, you're a player. I don't know, taking on players, getting past two, crossing, you don't know yourself. If you play a 1-2 and then get there, then you know yourself. So either you're a 10-meter player, but if you try to be a 40-meter player, a pass won't work for you. And he knows his limits and applies them well. As a central defender, he surprised me. I thought he was slower, but no, he got to the interception. He did well.
Well, a key player for you. And then Romo played the other day against Panama. Then you put Chavez in. I see Romo as more defensive, a more positional player.
Yes, he's positional, box to box. But he is very smart tactically. If you ask him to be part of the double pivot and be the more advanced one, to go press the pivots or to move forward when there's an advance at night and reach the second line, he's very smart to stay put when you tell him to. What happens with Romo is that he's very mobile. He wants the ball a lot. And sometimes football requires you to play without the ball. I always say that a ball, the effective time lasts 40 minutes. We are 22 players. There is one ball. We each get the ball for about a minute and a half, at most. And the other 89 minutes have to be played. Romo is one of those who wants the ball. And in that type, Orbelin, Pineda, they get very disorganized.
Of course. And that annoys you a lot because they are powerful. It annoys you a lot.
It annoys me a lot because you can compete with a team from your area. But if Italy catches you on a counterattack with everyone out of position, or Spain, or I don't know, Argentina, they will embarrass you.
Well, Huerta is a player I had already seen at Pumas, and I liked him a lot. A very skillful player. A guy like that. Now, he's in Belgium. The other day, he was a starter. You hold him in high regard for, I'll confess that I didn't want him. Why not?
Well, I didn't like him. And I, as the coach, I told myself, he will definitely see it.
The accountant.
I told him. What I say here is because they already know this. Yes. I don't like to use, you are media outlets, but not with my players, with people. And Huerta didn't think he would go with one, collide, go with the other, play easy, support yourself, play a wall, pass forward. And I didn't like it. And my staff convinced me to bring him. Bless them and the boy. And I loved it. And that he went to Belgium, I liked even more. Because he is going to grow. He is going to grow. I like him a lot.
Well, you have played some matches with one forward. But the other day you put two, Santi Giménez and the two Giménez. Giménez, who I think is at a spectacular level. But I like Santi Giménez. I like him. Let's talk about Milan now. How is he adapting?
Well, he started well. He scored 2 goals in 2 matches, about 3-3. Something was going on. And it's been a little while now that Milan itself isn't helping him much. It's true that it's not the best Milan in history that you and I have seen. They are making a comeback, trying to reach Europe, and he is in this crossroads. With the coach, whom I really like to discuss, I really like him as a coach. I already told him that he is going to learn. It was a big leap from Feyenoord to Milan. A big leap. The Dutch league, with all due respect, is inferior to the Big Five and so on. It's one of the Big Five. They are going to teach him a lot tactically. He is the son of Chaco, whom you saw. Chaco played a lot in Cruz Azul, in Pumas, in America. He was once in the Argentine national team, in Veracruz, and he has that great advantage. The father is at home and corrects him, tells him he's a good boy, a great professional. And he's also one of those I told to be more ruthless, because he doesn't let the opponent get up because the defenders start sensing you. I was a forward and I was a defender. I ended up in Chivas, started in America, also Chivas. And when you saw an opponent greet you, you were going to get bad. You had to take him down as a defender or as a forward. And that's what I asked of him. He moves well. Both are number 9s, but he can also play behind. Both move well. He has good technique. He can score. Santi is always there. But, well, he hasn't had luck with the national team. Since that goal against Panama, the 1-0 in the Gold Cup, I think it's been many matches now without scoring.
Well, Raúl Jiménez is now at a tremendous level at which Rojimes is. You have the perfect forward for what I have.
That I have seen in him an enormous capacity for sacrifice. Because he could act like a diva and say, I'm new, give them to me, I'll push them in. But he comes, drops back, encourages, pushes during corners. He's there at the near post to clear balls. Honestly, his commitment has surprised me. The word with the session, commitment, I love it.
And you're going to see him in the penalties. Hey, it's a crazy thing. It's something, let's hope he doesn't miss any. You'll remember me.
Let it be friendly. Eric Cuauhtemoc Blanco are the 2 best players I've seen take penalties. Mexicans.
Mexicans.
Hugo didn't take them badly, but in 86, he was condemned by a penalty against Paraguay. But Hugo scored a lot of penalty goals in Madrid. I don't know how many he scored, a ton.
Well, you've analyzed us. This is truly a luxury. Analysis of the Mexican team by the coach. I think you have a very good team to compete, to have a great World Cup.
Do you know what happens to us? That we're at home, and at home you have that extra boost. It may not seem like it, but playing at the Azteca at 2,240 meters at noon, it really makes you stick your tongue out. So that's our advantage. Mexico's two best performances in all the World Cups have been at home. 6th place in 86 and 6th in 70.
Well, you'll see another video where Javier and I will mainly talk about his career, but this has been Javier explaining the Mexican national team to us. Javier, thank you very much. And we'll continue, guys. Bye, 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 bye.